Welcome back to the Cozy Corner. This is part 3 of our 3-part series, Starting a Health Journey. Today, we will be talking about a very important aspect in having a well-rounded, healthy lifestyle, relationship with spirit.
We talked about relationship with food, relationship with body, and now we're talking about within, relationship with spirit. When we think about a healthy lifestyle, we all think about eating healthy and working out. But starting a healthy journey also includes spirituality. And I think this is a vital part in a healthy lifestyle. This is the core. Let's get into it and talk about this last and very important part of starting a health journey. But of course, before we get into that, let's catch up and bring in our first segment, ¿Qué pasó? So Gabby, ¿qué pasó contigo?
Well, I just got back from Sedona, Arizona with my sister. We met up there and it was such a nice time just to be away. We chose a specific place that wouldn't be overpopulated. We can have a very healthy and safe time. And it really did. I mean, my airplane, I had a whole row to myself. I just want to give props to traveling companies right now. I think I feel so safe on an airplane. This is only my second time and probably will be my last time on an airplane during COVID, but that was really nice. The whole resort experience, gosh, I felt like we had the resort to ourselves. It was so nice. And in Sedona there, it's, funny that we have this segment right after, but it's a very spiritual place. Sedona, if I guess you were to believe in it, it has ley lines, which are like vortexes and energy shields, energy vortexes, and but obviously the higher altitude, we're at 4,000 plus elevation, so it's just it feels physically different, like the air you're breathing. Me and my sister were just really trying to be intentional, so we were very tapped into just feeling zen. We did yoga on top of a mountain in a vortex. We hiked a bunch. I partaked in a Reiki healing experience. And basically, it was just this really beautiful conversation I had with the Reiki master about things that I want to release and things I want to invite into my spirit, my aura. And I closed my eyes, or I think they covered my eyes, and did some what they call energy movement. And it's not something that's like magic, right? It's just kind of, I think for me, was more putting intentions on the time I was with her. And I did get a little emotional, but again, I feel like that was just me being really mindful in the moment about my life and things like that. It's been a crazy year, but it was overall, my sister had her thing, we both got massages. Overall, it was such a, I feel so calm. I feel like my energy coming back, decompressing from a trip like that. I feel like the first 2 days I was on a high. I was so energized, which was so good. It felt really, really good. And, at work and stuff, people were noticing how different I was. And then yesterday, actually, being my third day back, I went on this really down, which they say happens when you do anything kind of a bigger than a human experience type of spirit soul thing. I got really not down in the dumps, but just um, very quiet and very somber. So I had, good company. I tried to intentionally put good company. I hung out with my good friends Jacob and Tina, and put good movies on the TV. Really trying to practice. This is what life is. Sometimes it's a high, sometimes it's low, and you have to make things safe for yourself and for yourself to be happy. But anyway, I can go on a tangent about my life. But for you, Darlene, ¿qué pasó contigo?
Well, first off, I'm very happy you had that amazing experience. It was so nice seeing the photos that you would send me. or your stories on Instagram. I was like, oh, I want to be there. It looks so beautiful. And what airline did you take?
I took American.
Okay, because I'm thinking, I mean, we're planning on traveling back to Texas in January, so we're like trying to figure out what's the best route to do. But anyway, with me, a lot has gone on. Well, not really. I'm on vacay, no more school. It's December, so as I mentioned, our school year in Guatemala is from January to November. So we always have December off. So Edwin and I have been this past week just relaxing, catching up on a much needed break. So we feel very happy. Today, actually, we're going to visit a town outside of the city just to be ourselves and do a little bit of traveling. Not really traveling, but just getting out of the house. But something exciting that happened in this past week, we finally got a dining room table, which we sold our dining room table back in May. Don't ask us why we sold it, but we were just in quarantine. We were like, well, we're not really using it, so let's just sell it. So we sold our dining room table back in May, and we have been dining room table-less since then. And for Thanksgiving, we just like set up a little, a card table and put like a nice tablecloth over it to make it look decent. But we were like, well, for Christmas, let's plan on getting a dining room table so that we can enjoy our Christmas dinner as a family. So we finally got a table and I'm obsessed with it. The chairs are so comfortable. That's the best part. And we have been like sitting at the table. Yesterday we sat there like all day, like working on some things. It was fun. And another thing, if you haven't seen the Selena series on Netflix, it is so good. I mean, we already know her story, right? But I don't know. It goes more into her childhood and her teenagehood and going through all of the hardships that her family went through. So it's just so beautiful. And us being Texan, she's right, Mexican American, and Gabby and I can both relate to that too. So I don't know. It was a beautiful.
In Texas or no? Like, do you see
What
land? Is it vividly filmed in Texas? Like, do you see landmarks?
Yes, they go to San Antonio. Well, she's from Corpus, so you only see like, whenever they're transitioning and they have the title like Corpus Christi, Texas or San Antonio, Texas. And when we saw the Tower of the Americas from San Antonio, Edwin and I were like, so cool. So
Well,
that was really most of Texas. But I was watching interviews and they filmed a lot of it in Mexico too. So
that's cool.
anyway, if you haven't seen the Selena series yet, you should. It's really good.
I've been told very good things about it. Yeah, I need to get on that.
Yeah, there's only 9 episodes. And so we started on Saturday night. Yeah, it was Saturday night. It was like 9 p.m. And normally Edwin and I watch Ugly Betty, but like the Spanish version, so Betty la Fea. We always watch it. And so, but he was showering. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to watch Selena until you're finished showering. He got out of the shower and we just watched the first 7 episodes. And we went to bed like at 2 a.m. that day. So good. So, but yesterday we finished it. But anyway. So I guess we can move on to our main topic, which is we're talking today the relationship with spirit. So spirit and spirituality, but let's go ahead and differentiate those two things.
Right.
What is spirit and what is spirituality?
Spirit is the non-physical part of a person, which is the seat of emotions and character, the soul. Spirituality is more of an individual practice and has to do with having a sense of peace and purpose.
Yeah, spirit is within. It is our deeper connection with, for me, God. Spirituality can be seen in different perspectives, and it generally includes a sense of connection to something greater than ourselves. Typically, it involves a search for the meaning of life. There's an excerpt I want to read from an article that I read from the University of Minnesota. They have a website called Taking Charge of Your Health and Well-Being. The article says, as such, spirituality is a universal human experience, something that touches us. People may describe a spiritual experience as sacred or transcendent, or simply a deep sense of aliveness and interconnectedness. Some may find that their spiritual life is intricately linked to their association with a church, temple, mosque, or synagogue. Others may pray or find comfort in a personal relationship with God or a higher power. Still others seek meaning through their connections to nature or art. Like your sense of purpose, your personal definition of spirituality may change throughout your life, adapting to your own experiences and relationships. So what do you think? What's your individual practice? And how's your relationship with your spirituality?
Wow. Well, I really love that quote because I feel like I relate to it so well because I think I'm one of those people that I grew up with Catholic traditions, went to CCD. I was baptized, had my first Holy Communion, went to CCD in high school. You know, I made the commitment to being confirmed. I wanted to do that. And it was guided by my mom, but I definitely like wasn't fighting it, you know. I feel comfort in being Catholic. Um, and what I like about this quote that you just said, it's kind of really relates to like it's a journey you can have. There's other senses. There's, you know, through nature or art. And I feel like for me, that's kind of how when I went to college, I probably went to college. When I went to college, I went to church probably the most out of like my whole life. It was just such a nice routine of going with my sister, going with a friend to mass on Sunday. And there was also this, so with my journey, it'll kind of explain itself, but there was this club, this Christian club. It wasn't Catholic form, but it was just like, I guess, non-denominational Christian. And I was like, okay, like I'm interested. Like it seems like, wow, like such a huge group on campus. Let me go. And I don't even know how it was to come, but I ended up having like this meeting with this girl that would be like my mentor. And I was like, what? Okay, this is cool. You know, something different in college for me to try. And she basically within the first like 5 minutes was like wanting me to sign something that was like, she was like, so you're confirmed, right? And I was like, yeah, I got confirmed in high school, like being Catholic. And she basically was like, well, this paper, like we just need like a vow that like you're not gonna like want to be Catholic or something. Like she was like, because Catholic isn't like technically the path that, you know, I'm taking. And I was like, it was weird. Honestly, it was such a blur because I feel like so many little things in college I feel like that. But I just remember being like really uncomfortable. Like immediately, my inside, my soul was like, you need to get out of this meeting because you're not comfortable, and you know nothing bad is happening. It's just like you can just politely say no. So I did. And, you know, she checked in on me like a few times that month, you know, and I ended up like stop going to their meetings because I was like, okay, clearly that's not for me. I don't want to have to sign or vow to anything that is so connected. Like I'm so connected with that being confirmed. And so from there, I kind of had like this really opinionated opinion on like, well, I don't want to, you know, say I'm Christian because people are going to think I'm a part of that group, you know. And so I kind of really got quiet for a little bit about it and just I guess in my later college years, I was not even trying to find other ways of attracting. I kind of was lost in my faith. Just, I would kind of go with the motion. If, like, my grandmothers, both of them are really, really Catholic, and I would, I knew what to say, but I didn't feel anything. Like, honestly, I just was, and it's like not a fun place to be for me, at least. Um, yeah, it kind of put a sour taste in my mouth. And it was such a human experience. I shouldn't have let it get to me, but I did. And then when I moved to Miami, um, gosh, Miami has beautiful cathedrals, by the way. And I remember passing them, and my Nana, I think she had noticed that I stopped going to church in college because we'd always like, update each other and stuff. And I was like, okay. She like wanted me to go to this one church because she was like, you can just sit there, like light a candle for, at the time, her son, my uncle, just passed. And I was like, okay. Like, it was definitely like, yeah, I can go with my choosing, like, let me go do this thing that I do feel comforted by. And in Miami, I like kind of had conversations with people all around the world and their backgrounds, and it was so enlightening to see passion in their faith when they talk about it. I had a friend that was Muslim, a friend that was Hindu, and it was just so beautiful. And one friend that was just all believed just in nature, and like how that quote says, like all of that is this beautiful, like, you believe higher than yourself, just your human existence. And so it was really inspiring. And yeah, I continued in Miami. I would go to church every now and then. I wouldn't pressure myself because I didn't come from a family to pressure, like, God's only going to love you when you go to church. So yeah. And then I guess from Miami to now, like, I have definitely dived into more like earthy things, like the whole Sedona experience. Like, I want to believe in it. I love believing in that stuff, energies, and finding other practices. Uh, so yeah, I guess that quote makes me feel like I'm not less of a Catholic or less of a Christian because I don't do the stereotype things. And I think that's why, like, for me, this podcast episode, I was like, oh, I don't want to. I don't know. It's like, so all of a sudden, like, I was so confident in talking about body and food. Like, I can tell anybody everything about that. But then, like, my relationship with my spirit, it's like the most personal one. But yet, I was a little timid about sharing my experience. Um, and with Brett, like, as you'll probably tell us, when you're in a relationship with someone that is going to be forever, that's what I hope me and Brett are. We had to bring it up. Like, that was one of the first things we had to bring. I had to bring up because I was like, I know that this is a topic that can separate people, right? So he is First Baptist, and he is like no questions asked. Like, he's so concrete in his faith. I asked him, like, have you ever fallen off? Have you ever this, that? And he was like, no. Like, he like you, he reminds me of you. He's so educated in on his faith and the traditions and practices. And it's so, I admire people like that because for me, I personally don't know any quotes off the top of my head. And I think being with Brett, like, he had asked me probably like a month ago, and we haven't done it, but we'll find the intention to do it. He was like, I would love to just, like, have a Bible study with you, just me and you, just like really non-pressure. I really, because, this is a part of his life. And I was like, I would like you being this teacher form for me. I wouldn't want to I've been invited to multiple Bible studies, but I've never, like, because it's something in me that's like, I like freeze a little because I'm like, I want to be super, super comfortable. So yeah, that's like where I am now. I'm just kind of very open, just taking in, because really all of it's good. I love I love all of it. And Brett always tells me all the time, he's like, as much as you admire me being concrete and being well, it's Christian, we're both Christian, but he's like, I admire that you take it all in and you're on this beautiful journey, and you're not putting out the negative, and you're not stereotyping right off the bat. So that was a really big compliment. And yeah, I'm just getting less, even just talking about it, I feel like so relaxed now that I've like talked to you about this and the episode. Like, I don't feel as scared anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. That's beautiful. I think it's so important to have an open mind when it comes to things like this. And you listening to that, listening to your story, it just makes me happy and proud to be your friend, because I think a lot of people in this world are not like that. They're very close-minded, and what they know or what they grew up knowing is the right way. And I think it's so excellent that we have these conversations, us both being Catholic, of course, but I think it's also important to have these types of conversations with people of all faiths or of all beliefs. So that's really beautiful. And I didn't know that about Brett. So that's really awesome. That's inspiring too, that he is very concrete in his faith. And I like how you say that I'm educated in my faith. I love how you say that, because I don't feel educated in my faith.
Well, I like view you as someone that I could like go to and you can teach me something 100%.
Oh, well, thanks, Gabby. I try. Edwin, my husband, he's a theologian, and that's what he studied. So I'm always, same with you and Brett, like just trying to learn from him. I'm always learning about our Catholic faith and asking him questions. And sometimes I'm like, but with him, I don't feel stupid. But if I were to ask other people, I would feel like really ridiculous. And we just have a good laugh out of it too. Like Edwin just, of course, with him it's fine. I mean, he's like, "Ay, mi amor," like laughing. But anyway, it's funny. So as I mentioned before, I am Catholic, and as a Catholic, with all religion, just like all other religions, there is a transcendence that drives how I try to live my life, with virtues and values and all the things that I've been taught as a Catholic. And I do want to mention before moving on that Catholics are Christians. There's sometimes that people are confused about that. They want to separate Catholics from Christianity, but Christianity is like this big tree, right? And all the other denominations uh, under Christianity, like Protestant or Baptists or Catholics, right? All of those are Christians, but they're just different branches. So I just wanted to point that out. And so for me as a Catholic and as a Christian, that transcendence is God. Christian spirituality is engagement with God as he is revealed himself in Jesus Christ. But before moving on, I also want to make a note that there's a difference between spirituality and religion. We have all heard those people that say, I am spiritual, but I'm not religious. And I think that that is so important to separate those two, because I can say that I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not religious, in the sense that I don't follow all of the rules of the Catholic Church, or I don't go to Mass every Sunday, blah, blah, blah. In that case, that's not me. I am spiritual, but I'm also religious, because I do like to follow the rules of the Catholic Church, and I like to go along those things. But today we're talking about spirituality. But also that they are not entirely distinct from one another. They come hand in hand. And in my case, as I mentioned, they do come hand in hand. In spirituality, the questions are, where do I personally find meaning, connection, and value? But in religion, the question is, what is true and right? So that's kind of the difference between spirituality and religion. Where the two overlap is the individual experience, which affects the way that you think, feel, and behave. So with that being said, my spiritual journey, like any other journey that we have talked about, has had its ups and downs. And just as that excerpt says, my personal definition of spirituality has changed throughout the years. And as a Christian, we are meant to live our lives like Christ. And this is part of my spirituality. Catholic spirituality is being guided by the Spirit of the Lord Jesus, which is received in baptism. But I never really found that meaning, that true meaning of purpose of living like Jesus until recently. So my spiritual journey, it began at a very young age when my Ita, which actually yesterday was her birthday. So my Ita, she's my grandmother that passed away a year and a half ago. So anyway, she has always been my guide in my Catholic faith. And she taught me my first prayer when I was a little girl, the guardian angel prayer. And since then, I feel that my spirituality just kept going up. And that's when I got into high school and I was really involved with my church. And in that, it only brought me closer to God. But recently, I've realized that my spiritual journey didn't only mean praying to God, going to church every Sunday, receiving Christ's body through the communion, going to Bible studies, things like that. That's not the only things that I need to feel this deeper connection with my spirit, with God. To me, it also means to help the most vulnerable. And in that, we are living like Christ if we are helping his children and helping those that are in most need. The ones that are marginalized in this world. And honestly, it is my husband that has really opened my eyes in that meaning. I'm going to read a Bible verse from Romans chapter 8. St. Paul says, "But you are not in the flesh, you are in the Spirit, since the Spirit of God dwells in you." And exactly what St. Paul says in that Bible verse, the Spirit of God dwells in you. And that is what I feel, in the sense that we do need to live our lives like Christ. As a Christian, as a Catholic, that is something that I feel that is my purpose, is what I need to do. And that is how I have delved deeper into my faith, into my spirituality. Living in the Spirit has guided me in that purpose. And with everything else, I'm still on this journey. I'm still learning, but I'm so happy to say that I feel that I have found that purpose in life, my purpose in life, to live for others and to help all of those that are around me, and especially living in a country that is called a third world country, right? Where I go outside of my house, not literally like walking outside, but driving outside my house, and you see people who are living in extreme poverty. And so I think that has also helped me in my spirituality, in finding my purpose. And it has given me that reason and has shown me, like I said at the beginning, what it really means to live like Jesus. So that has been my spiritual journey. And I feel very happy in the sense that I think I have found my purpose. And I think, like we mentioned, your relationship with your spirit is finding that purpose. And so as I'm saying that I have found my purpose, I'm still working towards that. And in anything, it's always going to have its ups and its downs. But it's really cool to feel connected with that. And so that has been my spiritual journey. Gabby mentioned that, she grew up in the Catholic faith and she always felt connected with that. But she has experienced other religions or other spiritualities, other faiths, other practices. And me, on the other hand, I have always felt connected with my Catholic faith, but I have always had my eyes open to learning about other people's faiths or other people's religions or their spiritualities, their practices. What really opened my eyes also with that is also me going to college. In my college journey, not in my college journey. Well, it is a journey, but in my college years, I think journey is just like a word that we're constantly using. Start in a health journey, so journey's the word. Okay, anyway, so in my college years, there was this group, or as I had mentioned, I was very involved with campus ministry. So in that, they were very open and very, what is the word? Just always educating us about interfaith. That's what it was called, interfaith. Like being accepted of all faiths and learning about other people's religions. And actually, Edwin, he did his thesis on interfaith, on the different practices. So I have always been in my 20s, I have always been very open to learning about different faiths. And same with me, I was very close with a Muslim who was always teaching me about her faith. And actually I hadn't known in the moment that Muslims, they also pray to the same God that we do. So it's so interesting doing that and not doing that, but learning about that and seeing that all of us that were living on these different journeys, we all have something that we feel connected to, something that guides us in our lives in finding that purpose. So anyway, that's just what I wanted to mention, that it's important to open your mind a little bit more and learning about other people's practices. And another thing I want to mention, Edwin and I, we went to Thailand for our honeymoon, and we actually experienced a Buddhist, it was like all day long from like 9 to 5, a Buddhist meditation, which was so beautiful. I mean, in that moment when we were meditating, I honestly was talking to God and being in my own self, using my own religion, but also experiencing that with a Buddhist lady. So anyway, it was a good experience. Opening my eyes and being accepted and understanding and learning the different practices, I think, is super important. Now we're going to talk about getting in tune with our spirituality, ways that we personally have connected with our spirituality, or ways that we have delved into our spirit. And if it's something that you have never tried before, examples to get into that could be journaling, meditation apps, learning about different, like I had mentioned, learning about different practices, reading books, talking or starting conversations. So I don't know, Gabby, if you want to talk about your...
Yeah, so I'm currently reading this book, and I started it in Sedona, called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And it's a book that my sister actually recommended for me to read. And his backstory basically is he was like super top-notch guy on Wall Street, like world of money. Gosh, that the energy in the world of money is probably like it's such a human power ego thing. And like he ended up like doing something illegal and like he got like big lawsuit, lost everything, something like that. I could be wrong, but something, to where the power and ego, I think karma, right? And so he went on this like eat, pray, love journey, went everywhere to just find, because I think when you realize like money doesn't define you or such a human thing is like at the end of the day, because we're not just human, we're spirits, right? I think he wrote this book. He like gathered all his journals, which that's how he started writing in journals. And it's a really beautiful book, and it's actually very strong from the get-go. It talks about our inner voice and how like we constantly are talking in our head. That's our inner voice. That's separate from who we are. It's our mind. And it was talking about how to individually grow from that point. It starts at self. Nothing else can make us start growing in terms of like purpose and like value. It was like you have to really recognize your inner voice and what kinds of things you're having a conversation with yourself about. It was also talking about how the inner voice, our inner voices, we are the center of, we as ourselves are like the center of our world because we have this inner voice that's narrating everything, that's putting us as this protagonist. But once you become aware that there is billions of other things, actions being taken place around you and not to you, it's like so crazy to put yourself in perspective, being this like human body in this like magnificent world. I know I'm getting kind of off tangent, but that's just the first chapter, honestly, is what it talks about. But I have a feeling that this book is going to just show me like, now that because for me, I stand saying I'm Catholic, right? So that would be, I'm trying to think of that one quote that you said. There's like that, but then there's like this purpose of life, of like different practices of self. And this book, I think, is going to help me grow in that aspect. I think other ways to start finding a spiritual awakening, reading books like The Untethered Soul. There's another one called The Four Agreements. It's really much kind of like balancing out your mind, because I feel like our minds overthink and our minds are going to be scared and fearful of like stepping into a spiritual awakening or it going, opening up into a religious endeavor. And I think these books, The Four Agreements, The Untethered Soul, can't say them enough, they taught me and are teaching me about living a slower life. I know you've mentioned it before, Darlene, where you were saying in one of the other podcasts, like, life doesn't have to be as difficult as we make it. And it's like, really, I think that's like, that's more of a human thing. That's humanistic characteristic about ourselves. So yeah, these books just really symbolize.
How do you say that?
They simplify life. And I think if you have this balance with your mind, yourself, sitting, that's why people, I think, oh, I can't meditate, I think about too many things. Well, you need to sit with yourself and like really be able to not overthink about all these things. Like I think just meditating, like you were saying, meditation apps I think are going to be great. So I think reading, meditation apps, and then start journaling, and it kind of goes from there. And I think it'll take flight of like wherever you find passion and sitting at the table. Like that's how I view it. I feel like we're all just sitting at the table, the same table of spirituality, and it's and you want to, I don't know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna find your place at the table. It'll just take a few like what is that one game? Why am I thinking of that? Musical chairs. That's like competition, so never mind. That's like a fight to
But kinda. No, I like that. I like that analogy. Kinda, because if you don't feel connected to something that you grew up with or that your parents told you about, I think it's okay to search for something new. It's okay to search where you feel happy and connected. So,
Definitely.
exactly. Musical chairs of spirituality.
Right. So what about you though?
I think I don't think I know. Spirituality is freedom. And as I just mentioned, it is okay to do other practices that you can find yourself and feel happier in something if something that you were taught that you were taught was correct. It's okay to get away from that and find things that make you actually feel happy, that make you actually feel connected. All you have to do is look deep inside yourself and figure out what speaks to you, and to remember these questions in your search. What works for your lifestyle and what aligns with your beliefs? Okay? So, as I mentioned, spirituality is freedom, and you have that freedom to search for something that you feel connected to. With all of these episodes, we've been talking about relationship, and so I want to end this with relationships take time, they take work. Just like any type of relationship, your relationship with your spirituality is going to take time. It's going to take work. And I love how Gabby said, like, oh, I can't meditate because I'm just thinking about too many things. That's something that I have been one of those people that say that. But just sit down and listen to what your soul, to what your spirit is telling you. For me, in my relationship with my spirit, there are times where I feel super connected with my spirit, with the Holy Spirit, as I would say. And in those times, I feel that my spirituality is at its peak and I feel very connected. I feel very happy. But there are other times where I feel that where I feel that my spirituality is at a super low. And that's because I don't put that work and I don't put that effort in working for my spirituality. I don't put that energy in. And so, in those days where my spirituality is low, where my relationship with my spirit is low, is because I don't work on it. And I can tell when it's down like that. But as this series is called Starting a Health Journey, a journey is just what this is. So we wish you best in your health journey. We hope that what we've said has opened your eyes, opened your heart and your mind a little bit to different things that we have learned through our own experiences. And we hope that it motivates you or inspires you to work towards your health goals.
For preguntas, mi pregunta es, Darlene, what is your favorite song right now that you?
Oh my gosh, I love that question. What's your favorite song right now? I have to say, oh my gosh, but it's because it's Spanish, because that's all that we listen to is
Love.
Spanish music. It is by Camilo. It's called Vida de Rico, which is like life of rich.
Ooh,
Like a rich life.
like rich life meaning rich like bling bling, or rich like
the opposite. Yeah, not like bling bling, not like. So it's so beautiful, the relationship between Camilo and his wife. I think she's a singer, I don't know, but all of his music videos are with his wife, and they just got married this year, I think. And so the video is them in their new house. It's their actual house that they bought. And so just it's so beautiful talking about that with you my life is rich, but not because of the money and all of the all the things that we have. It's rich in my heart. Like my heart is full of love, and that's why it's called Vida de Rico. So good.
I love that. I just added it to my playlist, so I'll have to listen to it.
Ah, awesome. Yeah, yeah. You have to watch the music video. It's the best. It's the best. I mean, you can learn more about the song through the video. So mi pregunta es, what is your favorite Christmas tradition or thing that you do during the holidays?
Gosh, I have, well, since I have divorced parents, I have like not really anymore two Christmases or anything like that, but two
Yeah.
different families, I guess now. So with my dad and my stepmom, we always did like I think that's like maybe an American thing or maybe not, but it was new to me when I started doing it with them, was finding a pickle in a tree. And it was like it's such a fun game for me. I don't know why. I love it. It's like you get a pickle ornament or some people I guess do a real pickle and you like find it within the tree because it's green and the tree's green and you're like trying to find the pickle and you get a prize. I just like games. So I do that with my nana, which I want to continue. The tradition is making a gingerbread house, which is pretty classic, I guess, Western uh, Christmas thing to do. um, and then my third thing, I'm just going to say three. uh, Third thing that I do during the holiday or a tradition would be, all my Christmases lately have been so unconventional. I've been like not home or doing something new with my mom. Last year we went to Colorado, but I feel like I want to say like food. So I don't know if you know it, and I'm going to probably say the wrong name. Not hojarascas. Yeah, that's what it is. Hojarascas. They're Mexican like sugar cookies. That's something that's just like pure Christmas for me. So we used to make them at my grandma's, my mom's mom, growing up, and I
They're like small, right?
small and they're small. They're usually just circles, but like we put them in like gingerbread, Christmas tree, all those things, and it's so rich. You can make them probably healthier, but it's like large sugar, flour. It's so good, and just sugar like around it. So that's probably like even just describing it, I'm like salivating. Um, but it's a good Christmas tradition.
I love that. My Ita used to make those. So now I'm feeling nostalgic because I mean we haven't had them.
Yes.
Last Christmas we didn't have them, so yeah, I didn't know that they were called that. We just called them like sugar cookies.
Well, it's funny because I was gonna say, oh my god, my mom, if she listens to this, she's gonna die laughing. So I used to always get them mixed up with cascarones because cascarones are the eggs at Easter. But I used to always be like, "Are we having cascarones?" She's like, "Gabby." Like I remember always getting them mixed up, hojarascas, cascarones, and it's like, yeah, I couldn't. It's been a long time.
Cascarones are like Easter, right?
Yes. That you smash on your head and like the confetti. Lol.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love Christmas. This is the best time of the year.
I'm
If
having.
you're watching the video, you can see I'm very Christmassy with my Christmas mug, my Christmas pillows,
Oh, I
and
just
my red turtleneck.
um,
Ah, beautiful.
and brought
Cheers.
these mugs. Cheers, a little Christmas.
I love it.
You are the Mary in my Christmas, and then the other one says you're the present under my tree. So it's really funny
Huh.
because I tell my mom and my sister, I'm like, do not get me any decoration, home decoration, or home item. I don't want quotes. For some reason, I've become very anti quotes. Like live, laugh, love, like where people have that. It just makes me cringe. I don't know why. And darling, if you have it, I will not judge. But it's just like, I don't know why all of a sudden I like don't like them. So they're always joking with me and they'll send me pictures like, here's something you would like. And it's like this big sign with a quote on it. And I'm like, no. But for Christmas, it's like the only time I will have all the quotes, silent night, joy, all those things around my house is fine. But yeah, it's like so weird how I don't like.
Not throughout the year.
Ah, I'm a weirdo.
No, I think I'm the same way. Edwin and I, we don't really go for those things. I mean, if people give them as gifts, of course,
I know, yeah.
okay. They
My
didn't know.
sister
But
just got me, my sister just got me, her and her husband, they got us a painting of our house. It's really beautiful and it says home sweet home. And I'm like, literally, I was like, why does it have to say home sweet home? But I'm like, it's literally like the old school. But he was like, it's cute. Brad was like, we're putting it up. I'm like, well, obviously it's a gift. Like, I'm not, and
Oh
it's,
my gosh.
I
We can go we could go into the story of how I told you.
oh my God, that's right. If you have time, yeah, I think
Yeah.
you are guilty.
Oh my gosh, so bad. My mother-in-law. Well, I told y'all sorry. We bought a new dining room table, and Edwin and I, we have this like huge painting of a lady from Cuba, and we didn't buy it. His parents had bought that when they went to Cuba. Anyways, but we have the painting in our house, and it's normally on our stairs, but we put it with our new dining room. We put it in our dining room, and we thought it looked so beautiful. And we have a mirror that matches with the table. Everything just looks so beautiful and set up. And his mom, the day that we bought the dining room table, his mom comes to our house so excited with this huge painting. Because we had shown her what we put in the dining room, and she's like, no, that's not for the dining room. Like, you have to have a painting with fruit or vegetables or like bread. So without us knowing, she went to the store and bought this huge painting that had a Bible verse on, like the quote. I mean, it was beautiful, but it was like, it's so beautiful. We didn't like it in the same sense that we don't really like words or quotes or whatever. But anyway, in the end, we went and exchanged it for a smaller one, the exact same painting, but it's smaller. So it's in our dining room now. So we still have the gift. It's just not so
It's
huge.
not hitting me in the face.
Anyway, so we went off a little bit of a tangent, but going into our last part of this podcast, the intention for the week. And our intention for this week is we want you to sit down and do just a 5-minute meditation. It could be in silence, it could be in prayer, or it could be from a video on YouTube, or if you have a special app that you listen to. Whatever it is, do that 5-minute meditation and reflect on your purpose in this world.
Yes, reflect on what you can bring into this world and how you could use your gifts and talents to spread joy and good vibes to the earth.
Whatever part in your spiritual journey you're at, we believe that it's exactly where you're meant to be.
You just got to stay positive and listen to what you hear from within. Next week is Christmas, and we will be talking about all things Christmas, all things holly jolly, and how it's our favorite holiday.
Be sure to send us in your comments or questions to our Instagram, the.cozycornerpod, or to our email, thecozycornerpod@gmail.com.
Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss our new episodes every week.
Also, we'd love it if you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and let us know what you think about The Cozy Corner.
Thank you so much for listening to The Cozy Corner, y'all.
We're just two besties navigating life like the rest of y'all. And we're so excited you've joined us on this journey.
We are so Texan. God bless. Take care. And adios, amigos.
Adios. Goodbye.
Adios.